Hello, my friend. I fucking love the word zest. It is one of my core values. It is one of my first principles. And you might be thinking, what does the word zest actually mean? Well, it just means great enthusiasm and energy. So, one of my main targets every single day is to live each day with zest. So, with that said, here is how you can develop a zest for life. And yes, of course, some people are just naturally more zestful and enthusiastic than others. Of course, indeed, this is related to personality, and a large part of that is genetic, as we know. But in 1949, the psychologist Donald Fisk expanded on that work when he identified five major personality factors. Later research further refined the feature of these traits and named them openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Dr. Jordan Peterson has done extensive work around this as well. And two traits out of these big five seem to be especially important for happiness. In 2018, psychologists writing in the Journal of Personality confirmed that high extroversion and low neuroticism seem to be the recipe for well being. More specifically, the correlations hinged on one aspect of extroversion and one aspect of neuroticism, and that is um, enthusiasm and withdrawal, respectively. So zesty and non-zest, you might say, that is enthusiasm and withdrawal. So zesty being enthusiasm and non-zest being withdrawal. Those sort of form the poles of a spectrum of behavior. And so enthusiasm is just defined as being friendly and sociable, leaning into life. Withdrawal denotes being easily discouraged, overwhelmed, and leading one to lean out of social situations and into oneself. If we could become more enthusiastic and withdraw less, the data does suggest that we become happier. We might become more successful too. So, isn't that a great recipe for life to be enthusiastic, to lean in, to live with more energy, to live life with more zest? That's why it's my favorite word and one of my core values and first principles. And so, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. That's Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote that in an 1841 essay called Circles. So people have known this for a very long time, that enthusiasm and energy are recipes for a great life. And so we do know that we talked about genetics a little bit earlier, but huge personality changes are generally rare. However, smaller shifts are possible and can help you become more zesty or zestier or whatever word you want to use there. So, what can you actually do if you want to lean into life more enthusiastically? Well, you might want to try the following. There's three things that you might want to try. First thing is act like it. Act like it, not fake it till you make it, but act like it. Academic research undertaken by psychologists Seth Morgalis and Sonia Lyubomirsky in the Journal of Experimental Psychology, say those names and that 17 times fast, I dare you. But in that journal, they show that if people act more extroverted in general, they do in fact succeed and become happier. So act like it. If people act more extroverted in general, they do in fact succeed and become happier. And you can use this sort of psychological skill for really anything. If you want to become more confident, act like a person who's confident. If you want to be more extroverted, act like a person who is extroverted. So act like it. Again, not fake it till you make it. This is backed by science and research. So act like it. Next one is change your problem oriented mindset to one of opportunity. So change your problem oriented mindset to one of opportunity. This is a common strategy in creativity and innovation and a successful technique in business leadership and elite sport. Entrepreneurs and athletes routinely use framing after setbacks by asking questions such as, what did I learn from this? Or using the mantra, obstacles make me stronger, right? Learning from your mistakes, using the mantra, obstacles make me stronger. You can increase your enthusiasm for things you would ordinarily withdraw from by affirming this and saying, something like, this is hard for me, which is why I'm doing it, or something around those lines. So you change your problem oriented mindset into one of challenge, into one of opportunity. Instead of seeing setbacks as like a personal attack or a personal failure, you see it as an opportunity for growth. You see it as a challenge to get better, to fall 7, to rise 8, to use the mantra, obstacles make me stronger. So that's the second way, is change your problem oriented mindset to one of opportunity. And remember, the first was act like it. And then we move on to the third one, which is curate your friends. Curate your friends. One of the best ways to become more enthusiastic is to, you guessed it, hang around more enthusiastic people, similar to the act like it principle, right? You want to be more confident, you want to be more extroverted, act like it. Well, if you want to be more enthusiastic, be around more people who are enthusiastic and have a joy for life and have an energy and a zest for life. By doing this, you'll be taking advantage of what psychologists call emotional contagion, in which people adopt the emotions and attitudes of those around them. You can see how this can be a very good thing and a very bad thing. That's why Harvard's 85-year study says great health and great relationships are the predictor of a great life. And so, if you want to, again, live with more enthusiasm or zest for life, curate your friends in that way. And so the 3 ways you can start to do that, like we just mentioned, are act like it, change your problem oriented mindset to one of opportunity and challenge and growth, and then curate your friends. And so, to wrap us all up, fighting your tendency for withdrawal doesn't mean that you can never be alone, right? That's not what that means. There is a huge difference between neurotic withdrawal from life and deliberate solitude. Hear that again. There is a difference between neurotic withdrawal from life and deliberate solitude. And the inability to be without company and stimulation is not necessarily a mark for good health either. What matters is your motive, whether you are moving away from others or toward being alone, or conversely, whether you are moving toward others or away from your own thoughts. So again, there is a difference. Hear that again. So like, what matters is your motive. What matters is your motive, whether you are moving away from others or toward being alone, or conversely, whether you're moving towards others or away from your own thoughts. And so that's very important, how to develop a zest for life. That just means leaning into life with energy and enthusiasm. And it's a beautiful way to start becoming more happy. So thank you for your time and attention.